What a week in the world of news, in the world of sports, in the world of entertainment. I'm Chris Soriano here with Alex Garrett, and you can listen to Alex Garrett's podcast, Keeping It Real with Alexander Garrett, on Spreaker and any other device that you can catch it on, Alex?
Yes, indeed. And I'm on at Spotify, I'm on iHeartRadio, I'm on Spreaker.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at AlexGNYC. Chris, thanks for having me on today, man.
No problem. A lot of stuff to get to. I know you have some stuff you want to dig your teeth into. But this, I just want to focus. I'm about a week late on this.
Sure.
Have not been able to get into a studio, as you know, the engaged life and the work life.
Yeah.
It's certainly starting to get busy, which is good. It's going to come together, but it's busy. And then baseball season started up. So
Sevy just announced his 4-year deal. That's official. So he is back with the Yanks for a few more years.
I like that. I like that. We all talk about pitching with the Yankees. I like that move. And one thing again that I want to talk about is the Kareem Hunt being signed.
Yeah.
I just don't understand, and how the NFL can hire a guy that we saw, and you saw the video, people.
Right.
He just, savagely.
It was awful.
Beat his fiance or his wife, whatever the person was.
Girl. Actually.
Was it a random? Was it?
I don't like. They knew each other, but it wasn't like. I think he's married or has a fiance. It wasn't her though. It was some other girl who was in there. And the thing about the whole issue with me, Chris, is this. We see a culture of the NFL, right, that excuses violence. We've seen it with Ray Rice. We've seen it with now Kareem Hunt. And the thing about it is, as we're going to talk about in a bit, that Colin Kaepernick still is not on an NFL team. But they line up for Kareem Hunt. And the saddest part of it all is that Hunt is picked over Machado in baseball, Bryce in baseball, and Kaepernick. The guy, and of course it's the Browns. Why wouldn't it be the Browns? Because they're the most controversial team. They signed Baker Mayfield, who's pretty controversial in his own right, and he to himself matured.
I think the Baker one will pay off. This one really, and I said, once he got cut, I heard people on WFAN radio saying that, well, we should sign the Jets should sign Kareem Hunt. No. And I am proud to say, and this is a big thing that I believe. I really stand firm in this stance here, that if the Jets would have signed Kareem Hunt, I was not going to be a Jet fan.
And you shouldn't be a Jet.
Because I cannot sit there and I cannot support a team with someone that abuses women like that.
Right.
It is just absolutely disgusting that we saw that.
And I have a point to make to you as well. So you guys know the pass interference was the biggest thing, or non-call was the biggest thing in the NFL by far postseason with the Rams and the Saints. Well, why wasn't there outrage about this signing? I don't know. I feel like we as a society lose track of the humanity of the game and just focus on the nuances, because at the end of the day, a non-pass interference doesn't matter to the fact that a beater, an assaulter, was hired back in the NFL. I think that outweighs any call that these refs do. What do you guys think? What do you think, Chris?
Well, I don't think fans care.
Why wasn't there a bigger deal made about Kareem Hunt being picked over Kaepernick to begin with and being picked again to begin with?
Because he's good. And that's, you brought up Ray Rice.
Yes.
Ray Rice never got back in the NFL. And now, why didn't Ray Rice get back in the NFL? Well, you had a running back that was on decline and getting older. So obviously, the NFL doesn't want that, because it's really as of no use. The NFL took a shot with Greg Hardy.
Yeah.
Remember Greg Hardy and the sucker punch? Greg Hardy got a job.
Yes,
Dallas brought him in. So Greg Hardy got a job.
I think he got arrested or something happened again, and he was kicked off the team, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But Greg Hardy kept getting opportunity. Kareem Hunt has now gotten an opportunity, and Colin Kaepernick has not. Why? Now, people can say, oh, it's the collusion, this and that, and more on that in a minute. I think it is. I thought I always thought that the reasoning is that Kaepernick just is not that good. I mean, even before the protesting, he was benched.
Well, and he was on the decline about the same time as the protesting started.
Yeah,
right.
so
that was just a reason for him to say, "Why aren't you guys picking me up?"
I've always said this. That if Kaepernick had Tom Brady talent, the guy would have been signed in a month.
But again, it's the idea of like Hunt being picked over Kaepernick, who, as you know, and I know you want to break this, so I'll let you break it about today's news with the collusion suit and all that, and that's big news. The fact that, well, you tell them what happened.
So Colin Kaepernick today, right there, he beat the NFL. And it's not easy to do because it's so rare. Few people have gone up against the titan known as the NFL, and they win. And this wasn't a concussion case. This wasn't a health case.
Right.
This was a special type of case. You know, I think that I am being colluded against. I am being blackballed in this sport. And he won the case.
And he had a legit reason to feel that way. I mean, look, there were a lot of teams not picking him up. The collusion thing might be a little out there, but he had to figure it out for himself. And he won the case. They settled today. And that never happens with the NFL, as you said. That never really happens that I've ever seen. Have you seen that?
No, I have not. And again, for all the people that are big Kaepernick supporters, you just remember, few people beat the NFL. Colin Kaepernick did. This is a win today for Colin Kaepernick. This is a win for
Eric Reed.
Eric Reed, yeah, but obviously Colin Kaepernick, the bigger story. No offense to Eric Reed, but Colin Kaepernick has become the guy.
And here's where we can move on from him being the guy, because I think he's been the guy for the wrong reason. In the sense that, okay, he kneeled. That was pretty bad in front of the national anthem, in front of the flag. I disagree with that from the beginning. But the only way to move on from this now is just hire the guy. I think that's the way to move on from it.
And I've always said that. I don't believe that he shouldn't get signed because my reasoning is, as a fan, that he's going to get signed. He's not going to be that good. And it'll all just not go away, but you'll see, hey, listen, maybe this is why the guy hasn't been signed in 2 years, because he really can't play.
And this is where the AAF comes in, and I'll talk about that with you in a second. But one thing to say, guys, and I know you guys probably have some Jet fans on your feed. So, Mark Sanchez, he's the quarterback for the Redskins when Alex Smith goes down at a very pivotal point in that season, by the way. But that's where Kaepernick could have stepped in. There's no reason that Mark Sanchez should be a starting quarterback after all his debacles with the Jets, with the Eagles rather, and now Washington. So Kaepernick could have filled that void very easily. Now you guys know that Joe Flacco was traded to the Broncos. Another opening in the NFL. The kid's good. The rookie for the Ravens is good. But Kaepernick can really fill that role now. So I would say one of these teams needs to get him at this point and see what he can do. Or the Alliance for American Football can give him his shot. $20 million is a big reach, isn't it?
That is insane. And I'll be with people on this that are beating Colin Kaepernick over the coals with this, because it is just insane. I mean, you're asking $20 million from a league that probably isn't even worth $20 million right now, and who knows if they're going to even be worth $20 million.
That, I believe Bill Polian is part of that whole thing.
Bill Polian, yes.
Who navigated the Colts run there for a long time. So he knows what he's doing. I think he knows what talent is for the AAF. And a lot of those guys, some of those guys are on the NFL rosters in the past, so they've gotten some former NFLers. I kind of like the rivalry here that's going to build, especially because that hit went viral. I'm sure you saw it. I don't know the players, but it was a hard hit. Like, you'd see that in the NFL.
That's football.
In like 20 years ago. You wouldn't see that in today's game.
No. Well, you'd see it today, but it'd be
a big penalty.
There would be 9 flags drawn on the field. This was probably the judge today. Mr. Kaepernick, do you have anything in your opening statement? Colin Kaepernick goes, yes. I have just one name on it right there. Nate Peterman.
Okay.
Judge goes, okay. Turns to the NFL. Will that check be made out to Colin Kaepernick or cash? Because that's really all you have to say. That really, how that guy, how Nate Peterman getting a job
Right.
in the NFL over Colin Kaepernick, I agree with people on that. It is horrendous. It is just embarrassing to see that. I mean, that alone is the proof. And again, when we talk about this,
Yes.
that nobody wins against the NFL, and Kaepernick has, and that is huge for them.
Right.
It should most definitely tell us,
Yes.
as a society, people in the media,
Yep.
detractors of Colin Kaepernick and fans of Colin Kaepernick, it should tell everybody that there were layers on top of layers of evidence
Right.
supporting the
Colin's
NFL
claim.
blackballing him.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be.
There has
Because this is my deal. If there was no collusion, if there was no evidence, if there was no major evidence of the NFL owners blackballing him, then why would the NFL fork over all this money? So there has
Right.
to be something. So what you see today is that without seeing the evidence,
Right.
without the public knowing the evidence,
Right.
you pretty much have the sense, with Colin Kaepernick winning this case, yeah, the NFL most likely was blackballing him.
And as we're talking about this, I'm thinking, what another loss for Goodell. This guy has had a string of losses dating back to Bountygate. When his former boss, Chris, Paul Tagliabue, had to weigh in and say, Rodgers wrong about going after the Saints. Remember, he said that. And then, of course, Deflategate went nowhere. The judge kind of ruled in the Patriots' favor there. So, what to say about the NFL now that they're on a big losing streak? Of course, with the reffing situation too. And this guy wants a jet plane. Roger Goodell wants a jet plane. I mean, what can these owners do to oust him at this point? I think that's what needs to be done here.
I look at Roger Goodell as one of the worst commissioners in the NFL. I go, in terms of the worst commissioners, I would go Roger Goodell number one.
All time or
No, just currently now. Roger Goodell being the worst commissioner in sports.
Okay.
Right behind him is Rob Manfred
Oh my
of
God.
baseball.
Yeah.
And he's getting close.
Manfred.
He's getting close to being number one. Gary Bettman.
Yeah.
And Adam Silver. Listen, I really don't have a problem with Adam Silver.
I don't either.
I think Adam Silver is the best commissioner in sports today.
Yeah. Because you know what? I think he's handling all the drama as well. And remember what David Stern did before he left. He said, Chris Paul, you're not going to the, what was it? I think the Lakers. You're going to the Clippers. And that is what really prompted, of course, I think he did this before he retired or whatever, but that's why we needed a fresh face for the NBA, because we saw what David Stern did before he left. And now Adam Silver's got the league up and running, and there's no league issues as far as I could see. Team issues for sure. The Pelicans fired their GM today because of the Anthony Davis saga. I mean, this is how crazy the state of the teams are.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see Kuzma's like, I'd rather have the negative coverage of LA and stuff like that. I mean, all these teams seem to be falling apart a little bit, especially the teams that we thought would be good, because we saw LeBron suffer a 40-point loss recently, which was a record.
It has been years. It has been about 40 games into his rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
And his rookie season, he has not been under 500 since his rookie season.
Right.
So this is a major deal if the Lakers are under 500. So that's the whole Kaepernick thing. And again, it's a league
by the way, of all time, Bud Selig is
Bud
the
Selig
worst
is the
commissioner.
worst. Bud Selig is the worst. Okay, let's ban the guys from baseball. Let's ban Bond. Let's ban McGuire. Let's ban even though I don't really think Mark McGuire's a Hall of Famer. But let's get Bonds and Clemens, all these guys out there, and make an example out of A-Rod. But I'll gladly go in the Hall of Fame because I'm the one that knew everything about it. I'm the one that profited. And we could put Joe Torre in there and Tony La Russa and Bobby Cox and all these managers who they knew that their players were taking stuff. But let's put them in the Hall of Fame. Bud Selig is a joke. The Baseball Hall of Fame is a joke. Baseball is a joke, and that's my game. And I'm getting really fucking sick and tired of it.
Well, let me just say one thing.